Best budget smartphones in 2026. Have you ever wondered if spending $1,000 on a smartphone is actually worth it anymore? Just a few years ago, buying a budget phone meant accepting slow performance, terrible cameras, laggy software, and a battery that barely survived the day. If you wanted a premium experience, you had no choice but to spend flagship money. But something incredible has happened. In 2026, some budget smartphones are becoming so powerful that many people can barely tell the difference between a $300 phone and a device that costs 3 times as much. And that's creating a huge problem for smartphone manufacturers. Because if consumers realize what they're actually getting for their money, the entire smartphone market could change forever. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the best budget smartphones in 2026, uncovering which devices truly offer incredible value, which brands are secretly dominating the market, and why some expensive flagship phones might not be worth buying anymore. And trust me, one smartphone later in this video completely shocked even industry experts. So stay with us until the end because the final phone on this list might be the smartest smartphone purchase you can make this year. The smartphone industry has always been built on one simple idea: convince consumers that they need the newest and most expensive device. Every year, companies launch flashy events, cinematic advertisements, and revolutionary marketing campaigns promising groundbreaking innovations. Better cameras, faster processors, smarter AI, more powerful batteries. But behind all the marketing hype lies an uncomfortable truth. The pace of smartphone innovation has slowed dramatically. For most people, a modern smartphone already does almost everything they need. It takes photos, runs apps, streams videos, handles social media, supports gaming, provides navigation, processes payments, and connects people around the world instantly. As a result, manufacturers have found themselves in a difficult position. How do you convince someone to spend over $1,000 on a new phone when their current phone already does nearly everything? The answer has been to push premium features. But while flagship phones became increasingly expensive, budget smartphones quietly improved at an astonishing pace. And that's where things get interesting. Let's travel back for a moment. A decade ago, buying a budget smartphone was often frustrating. Devices struggled with basic multitasking. Apps crashed regularly. Photos looked blurry. Storage filled up almost instantly. Consumers often upgraded after only a year or two because the experience became unbearable. Fast forward to 2026. Modern budget smartphones now feature high refresh rate displays, advanced AI features, multiple camera systems, fast charging, powerful processors, and battery life that often exceeds premium flagships. The gap between budget and premium has never been smaller, and several manufacturers have taken advantage of this shift. Companies like Xiaomi, Realme, Motorola, Samsung, Honor, Nothing, and OnePlus have completely transformed consumer expectations. Instead of asking what features a budget phone lacks, consumers are now asking something much more dangerous. Why spend more? That question has become one of the biggest threats to the premium smartphone industry. But before we reveal the phones dominating 2026, we need to understand what actually makes a budget smartphone worth buying. Most people focus on specifications: gigabytes of RAM, megapixels, processor names, benchmark scores. Yet those numbers don't always tell the full story. Imagine 2 smartphones with nearly identical specifications. One delivers smooth performance, excellent battery life, reliable software updates, and consistent camera quality. The other struggles despite similar hardware. Why? Because optimization matters, software matters, user experience matters, and many consumers discover this only after purchasing the wrong device. This is why some phones on paper look incredible but fail in real-world use. Meanwhile, others quietly outperform expectations. Now let's talk about one of the biggest trends shaping budget smartphones in 2026. Artificial intelligence. AI is no longer exclusive to flagship devices. Features that once required expensive hardware are now appearing in affordable smartphones. Photo enhancement, real-time translation, smart voice assistants, AI-powered battery management, automatic image editing, noise reduction, writing assistance, and productivity tools. For many users, these features provide more value than faster processors or slightly improved camera sensors. In fact, Some budget devices now include AI capabilities that would have seemed impossible only a few years ago. But AI is only part of the story. Battery life has become another major battleground. Consumers are tired of carrying chargers everywhere. Manufacturers know this. As a result, many budget smartphones now deliver all-day or even two-day battery performance. Some include batteries exceeding 6,000 mAh. Others use advanced software optimization to maximize efficiency. The result is simple. Many budget phones now outlast flagship devices costing significantly more. And that's creating another uncomfortable question. If a cheaper phone lasts longer, does more than enough for everyday tasks, and costs hundreds less, what exactly are consumers paying for when they buy premium devices? The answer becomes even more complicated when we look at cameras. For years, smartphone cameras were one of the biggest differences between budget and flagship devices. That gap still exists, but it has narrowed dramatically. Modern computational photography allows affordable smartphones to produce surprisingly impressive results. AI image processing can enhance colors, improve dynamic range, reduce noise, and create attractive photos even with smaller sensors. For social media users, casual photographers, and everyday consumers, many budget phones now deliver results that are more than good enough. Of course, professional photographers and enthusiasts may still notice differences, but average users, many simply can't. And that realization is changing purchasing behavior worldwide. Now let's discuss some of the standout budget smartphone categories dominating 2026. First comes the performance champion. These are phones designed for users who prioritize speed above everything else. Powered by efficient processors and generous RAM configurations, they handle gaming, multitasking, streaming, and productivity with ease. What makes these devices remarkable isn't just their performance, it's their price. Only a few years ago, achieving this level of power required spending flagship-level money. Today, it can be found in devices accessible to millions of consumers. Then there are the battery kings. These smartphones focus relentlessly on endurance. For travelers, students, workers, and heavy users, battery life often matters more than camera quality. After all, a powerful phone is useless when it's dead. Some of these devices can survive 2 full days of use without charging. Others recharge from nearly empty to full in under an hour. For many users, that convenience alone makes them worth considering. Next comes the camera focus category. Manufacturers have realized that photography drives smartphone purchases. As a result, many budget devices now prioritize imaging capabilities, advanced portrait modes, night photography, ultra-wide lenses, video stabilization, AI enhancement systems. These features help affordable devices compete in areas once dominated by expensive flagships. Then we have perhaps the most fascinating category of all. The balanced smartphone. Not the fastest, not the best camera, not the biggest battery, but excellent at everything. These devices often become bestsellers because they avoid major weaknesses. And for most consumers, balance matters more than perfection. Now here's where things become truly interesting. Many smartphone reviewers conduct blind camera tests. Participants compare photos without knowing which device captured them. The results are often shocking. Expensive flagship devices don't always win. In some cases, budget phones receive more votes. Why? Because consumers judge images based on how they look, not on technical specifications. This highlights a powerful lesson. Real-world experience often matters more than marketing claims. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the budget smartphone market. But despite all these advancements, there is still one area where buyers need to remain cautious. Software support. A phone isn't just hardware. It's also a long-term investment. Security updates matter. Feature updates matter. Performance optimization matters. Some manufacturers excel at software support. Others fall behind. A smartphone that feels amazing today may become frustrating after several years if software updates disappear. This is why experienced buyers increasingly evaluate software ecosystems alongside specifications. It's not just about what a phone can do today. It's about what it will continue doing tomorrow. And that mindset is becoming increasingly important. Now let's address the biggest misconception in the smartphone world. More expensive does not automatically mean better value. Value is about what you receive relative to what you pay. A $300 smartphone delivering 90% of the experience of a $1,000 flagship represents extraordinary value. And that's precisely why budget devices continue gaining popularity. Consumers are becoming smarter, information is more accessible, reviews are more transparent, and people increasingly recognize that chasing the most expensive device doesn't always make financial sense. This shift is reshaping the entire industry. Manufacturers are being forced to improve budget offerings. Competition is intensifying. Consumers benefit. Innovation accelerates. And everyone wins except companies relying solely on premium pricing strategies. The most important turning point in the smartphone market isn't a new processor, camera, or AI feature. It's a change in consumer thinking. People are no longer asking, what's the most expensive phone? They're asking, what's the smartest phone to buy? And those are very different questions. The answer often leads directly toward the budget segment. Not because these phones are perfect, but because they provide extraordinary value for money. As we move further into 2026, the future of budget smartphones looks incredibly promising. Technology continues becoming more affordable. Manufacturing improves. Competition increases. Features once reserved for premium devices inevitably move into lower price categories. History has shown this repeatedly. Fingerprint sensors, multiple cameras, fast charging, high refresh rate displays, AI tools, all eventually became accessible to mainstream consumers. The same pattern will continue. And that's excellent news for smartphone buyers everywhere. The biggest lesson from today's discussion is surprisingly simple. Don't judge a smartphone by its price tag. Judge it by the experience it delivers. Because in 2026, some of the best smartphone experiences available aren't necessarily coming from the most expensive devices. They're coming from phones designed to maximize value. Phones that challenge industry assumptions. Phones that prove innovation doesn't always require premium pricing. And phones that are quietly changing the future of the smartphone market. So before you buy your next smartphone, take a moment to think carefully. Do you really need the most expensive device available? Or do you simply need the device that offers the best balance of performance, battery life, cameras, software, and value? For millions of consumers around the world, the answer is becoming increasingly clear. And that answer is driving one of the biggest shifts the smartphone industry has ever seen. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment telling us which budget smartphone you think deserves the crown in 2026. And remember, the smartest technology purchase isn't always the most expensive one. Sometimes, it's the one that gives you the most value for every dollar you spend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.